more than when my daughter and I are sitting in the living room reading a book, and she just walks in, rolls her eyes, and is like, oh, my God, so annoying. Now I can't watch TV. So, and you know, I feel like people don't really go to the library that much anymore, you know, with e-readers but I still like to hold the book, and I'd love to just read. And, you know, it works out for me because I'm single and I have a lot of free time. But sometimes I actually feel like a library book. Nobody's checking me out. Just kidding. So, seriously though, if you've ever tried to write anything, put words to paper, you know it can be pretty difficult. Some people can't do it at all. Tonight we are lucky enough to be in the presence of someone who is so fabulous at it, and her books are just so amazing to read. They are so real. I was talking to her before about how wonderful her books are, and that the characters are so real. They jump off the page at you, and if you've read her books, you know that they really, you can connect with them and they touch you. And I'm just very, very proud and honored that you would have me here to help launch your book tonight. And it is my great, great pleasure to introduce to you C.F. Winn. Pleasure. Let me get out of your way.
We have technical difficulties.
Yeah, just call me back over if you have any problems.
So everybody, please give Roseanne, Mandy, another round of applause. Make sure that you check out their Facebook pages so that you can find out where they're going to be performing. Okay? I'm really, really glad that they came and they warmed you guys up, because I'm thinking to myself the whole time, how am I going to follow this? Because awkward and hoarse and more awkward only gets you so far in a book event. And I have been sick all week, which is why I'm so hoarse, and I apologize. I hope you all can hear me. I'm going to sound a little bit more awkward because of that. And there is no XX Pro or a Valencia filter here to fix it. So what you see is what you get. So the first thing I want to do is I want to thank you all for coming. It's really, really special to me that you would come out and celebrate the launch of this book. I know that everybody's taking time out of their schedules, especially our mayor of Lindenhurst. I want everyone to know. Very busy man, but every time I see him, he's, you know, it's like it's brand new. So since my book is set locally, the theme of this whole launch is local. And what I did was I tried to shout out to a lot of local businesses, our local performance artists, our mayor. And so what I want to do is I want to give a big thank you to some of the businesses that contributed to tonight. So first, Hurricane Grill and Wings for co-hosting the event. They created the Greedy Ghost special, $5 tonight in honor of my book. So drink up. Gabby is not in here right now, but she's our server for tonight, and she's working very hard to keep you guys fed, so please be kind to her, and later on, be kind to her. All right, so next, I would like to personally thank anyone who contributed to the swag bags that everyone's going home with tonight. First, Kinetic Body Art, Gentle J of Ink Masters fame, and his apprentice, Steph, who does not really want to be pointed out, but she is here tonight. They created... They created the temporary tattoos. Oh, this is Gabby, by the way. Don't forget her name. They created the temporary tattoos that also glow in the dark in honor of my paranormal book. They also, Steph is the artist behind my newest tat. It's Life, Hell Yeah, for anyone who can't read it. And she's worked long and hard to get that perfect for me. So anybody who is an ink wearer, I highly recommend them. Next is Salon 3028, Rob Traina. Nobody's here tonight from there, but he and his hair artists they not only contributed the fancy gold glitzy bags that are you can use at the grocery store, but they create this. It's like I have a team of stylists that come in every single day making me look like this. It's underneath, Roseanne. Just press it. No, keep pressing it.
Got it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, next. Glass Charms by Paula Corkill in West Babylon. Paula's with us tonight. She customized the fancy wine glass markers you're going home with. She can do the same for your special event, but an added bonus, she's got a ghost story or two of her own that you can listen to. So when you hire her for your special event, make sure you're hiring her for the wine glass markers and the stories. Roseanne Sorrentino of Facebook Live's newest show sensation, Brace Yourself. This girl's an all-around talent. She's an actor, she's a singer, she's a comedian, she's the next Ellen, and she's a totally fun-loving and very generous friend to me. Her stickers will always remind me to tune into her show, Brace Yourself, where if you are watching as well, she is sure to shamelessly plug some of my future works. Just kidding, no pressure.
Absolutely.
But plug me in.
100%.
Okay, local artist Angeline Ginsberg not only holds a very special place in my heart, but she's going to be the reason why your swag bag smells so dang good. She's also an apprentice at Kinetic Body Art with Steph, but she is also a resin artist. She creates coasters and crystals and the soap that you're going home with tonight. I have been using her Very Berry Shea Butter soap for like 2 weeks now. I am super soft. I smell real good. And you're all going to be as obsessed as I am, so replenish with her. And last, but definitely not least, however will you take all of these treasures home? Why? With a special CF Winn reusable grocery bag. As always, my favorite son and artist, Max Lee, created the logo design. It's on the front of it. He is so talented. His insights are amazing. I'm so proud to always have him on my team. He works tireless for me. No matter what mom wants, mom gets. Him and Angeline are both up at school right now, so they couldn't be here tonight. But hey, guys, I hope you're watching. Mwah, I love you. So once the logo art was created, I went down to South Shore Royalties right here in Lindenhurst. Daniel sat down with me and very patiently worked out the rest of the design for the bag. And so we thought it would be fun, because this is a paranormally based book, to do the ink in glow-in-the-dark ink. Yeah, yes, Lou, yes, Lou. But you know what's really special about that, Lou? What's going to happen is when you're done reading my first 2 books and you need your next great read, it's on the back and you can read it night or day. You're all welcome. Okay, so let's give everybody who donated and helped these swag bags become a reality a nice round of applause. Hurricanes, Roseanne, Mandy. So everybody's going home with one. So Paula and Bella, if you wouldn't mind giving them out to everybody, because you got a bag and you got a bag. I had to do it. All right. And while they're giving out the bags, I'll get started on the real speech. So we're here to talk about the paranormal. Now, some of you lean forward real eager to hear the ghost stories, but there's always skeptics among us, the ones who fold their arms. It's a powerful word, paranormal, but all it really means is something that can't be scientifically proven. Kind of like how my kids paranormally live in this mess that they call their room. Cannot be explained. So for those of you who might be a little skeptical, there's shots. Just order some shots. You'll be good. And so we're here for the launch of the book, but some of you are newcomers. Some of you may not know me, so let me just kind of introduce myself, give a little background. My name is CF Winn. That is my pen name. And I write realistic fiction. That means that sometimes there's events in my book that might have happened to me or to other people I know. So I'm warning you now, be careful what you tell me. In the case of this book, I live in a haunted house. The paranormal events that I describe in the book happened to myself and my kids. And there were quite a few. So, you know, what that means to me is I finally got all my kids to move out. She's only here for this lunch. But now I'm not going to be alone. I got my spirit squatters looking at my every move anyway. But there are some people who seem to be haunted wherever they go. Remember our own local haunting, the Amityville Horror, the Lutzes, right? Those poor people were chased by bleeding walls, killer attack flies here when they fled to California. And it kept happening and happening all up until their sequel flopped. And poof, no more haunting. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am not one to judge. Actually, the Amityville Horror book is the first full-length novel that I read that got me hooked on the paranormal. Until I read that book, I didn't know that things like ghosts, hauntings, all the things that go bump in the night existed. But once I figured out that there was more to life than bike rides and homework, oh, it was on. I was definitely in. So I became fascinated with everything from automatic writing to table tipping. But no matter how many Ouija board sessions I did or how many wannabe seances I was involved in, I never really had an experience that I truly believed in until I moved into the house that I live in now. Locally, in Lindenhurst. I know, Mike's looking at me, what? Not our fair town. Oh, okay, so not so. Okay. So, you know, some of you may think, oh, this crazy lady. She's going to be like, oh, there's ghosts. The wind moved the door. Oh, everything is, oh, look, that's, no. I'm a healthy skeptic. So that means that I really do exhaust every possible worldly thing that I can think of until I'll even consider that something paranormal happened. So, for example, about a year ago, I was relaxing in my house, and I heard this really loud laugh. And it was like that creepy kind of clown laugh. Yeah, Mike knows it. He's heard it. So I was alone in the living room, but my son and my daughter were both home. So Max was way down the other side of the house in his room, but Bella was a little closer in her room. So I called her to come out. So our conversation kind of went like this. Did you hear that? Yeah. Was that you? No. Was that you? No. Maybe it was Max. Hey, Max, did you hear that? Yeah? Was it you? No. Well, what did you hear? Because we're not going to just accept that, you know, he heard what we heard. So we said, what did you hear? And he goes, it was a creepy laugh. You guys are so annoying. Would you just leave me alone? And that's my kids, forever unimpressed, totally unaffected, even when the spirits want to come out to play. So my point is that no matter what goes on, if we didn't label that as paranormal exactly, it's just something we couldn't explain, and we don't attach much importance to it. It's a funny anecdote to tell. But some of the more plausible ghost stories that have gone on, I included in this book. And we started off telling them at parties, and it was as normal as serving chips and dip. Somebody, usually my friend Skylar, who's going to be late because she's at work, she would yell out, hey, CF, tell so-and-so about how the table in the living room moved by itself. And next thing you know, I'm surrounded by preteens, and I'm telling ghost stories. My kids, at that point, that was their cue to roll their eyes, leave the room, they're done. And the stories began to stale, even for me. So I wrote this book. I included all of that in so everyone can just read about them, and I don't have to tell them. But when I began the writing process, I considered much more than just the ghost stories. I was thinking about, you know, why do spirits move among us? Are they stuck? Do they know that they're dead? Do they have unfinished business? So besides including some kick-ass ghost stories, I tried to address the question of, are places haunted or people both in life and in death? Meaning, do our personalities carry over? Our life lessons, our hopes, our fears, our loves? And if they do, how do they present themselves in the afterlife? What exactly does death look like? Bye, guys. Thank you, Mandy. Everybody give Mandy a round of applause again. She loves you all. She has a sick baby. Forgive her. Bye, Mandy. Get home safely. So, haunted house, haunted life is mostly told from the perspective of the dead. It offers some theories about what life after death might look like, but just please keep in mind, I'm alive. I am not a medium. I am not a psychic. So I'm about as clueless as anybody on this. The only edge that I have is that I live in a haunted house and I have some interesting stories to tell. So, on to those stories. The first one that I'm going to tell is in the book. If I remember that in the book, it's told from a different perspective, from the characters and the ghosts that are in the book. Tonight, what I'm going to tell you is how it really went down in my house to me. So this story, in case anybody wonders, do not skip to the end of the book, but this story's at the end of the book. But don't skip to the end. I hate when people do that. So, my kids were a lot younger, and while reusable bags weren't mandatory like they are now, I like the idea of preserving our planet, so I used them. So I had unpacked our groceries, and then I folded some of the reusable bags that were smaller into one big reusable bag. And then I put it by our front door so that I would remember the next day to put them in my car. Now our hallway is wide. It's exactly the way I describe in the book. The house was built for a disabled Vietnam vet, so the hallway is wider to accommodate wheelchairs. We have a bench that's close to my room that has hooks on it where we can hang jackets, and that's the scene of the crime. So my kids were in bed, the bags were all packed neatly, and I was on Skype. I was talking to my friend. The only light that was on in the hallway was coming from my room. All of a sudden, I heard a noise at the bench. It sounded like my son had gotten out of his bed and was playing with his cars on the part of the bench where you can sit. I assumed that's what he was doing, and so I said, Max? I called out, the sound stopped, but he didn't answer me. So I went back to what I was doing, and then I heard it again. It started right back up, and I said, Max, I told you, you got to go to bed. What are you doing? Noise stops. Again, it starts right back up. So now I'm mad, but I'm really more comfortable than I'm mad. I don't really want to get up. So I'm like, Max, don't make me get out of this bed and come get you. But then this time the noise does not stop. So I got up and I said, now I got to come, but I'm still hesitating. Hey, this is Skylar, who I mentioned. Welcome, Skylar and Jen. Have a seat anywhere. So now I've got to get up, and I am not happy. So I go out in that hallway. I'm getting my punishment ready in my head, and what I saw stopped me in my tracks. My shopping bags were walking across the hallway. They were shuffling, shifting from side to side, and very slowly going from my wall across the hall to my son's. Well, I can tell you, I am not even going to lie, I was terrified because all that was going through my head was, oh my God, there's an animal in that bag. What if it's a mouse? What if it's a squirrel? How am I going to get rid of it? Oh my God. So I don't know how you guys work, but my mind is like a file folder. It just flips through everything looking for a logical answer until something makes sense. And it took me about 5 seconds to realize that my animal theory didn't make sense. I had unpacked the bags myself. We didn't have pets or anything like that because my kids are allergic. And we didn't have any evidence of mice or rats or anything like that in the house. But I still was not convinced that that's what was happening. However, what I did know was that every single time I had some kind of paranormal event to talk about, nobody ever believed me. Where's your witness? Where's your documentation? This is what I'm faced with. So I said, not this time. I'm going to cover my bases just in case it is paranormal. So when those bags were still moving, I called out to my oldest daughter. I said, Pumpkin, are you asleep? And she said, no. I said, I need you to come out here. She said, no. I said, no, honey, I really need you. She goes, what for? And I said, just come out here. And we kind of went back and forth like that a little bit with her not coming until I had to put on the mom voice. And I said, hey, I told you to get out here. Now get out here. So she came out. She came out with her eyes covered. She was like, I don't trust you. Now, in all fairness, something had happened to her, and it does appear in the book, that really kind of freaked her out. She's not as unaffected as the rest of us by what goes on. So she came out with her eyes covered, and I said, you got to look at this. Why are you out here if you're not looking? And she said, no, I don't trust you. I said, just look, just look, just look. And she wouldn't look. So I thought I was going to be really smart and flip on the light to shock her into looking. And what I did was the bag stopped moving. So, yeah, so I still didn't have a witness to it. But I can tell you this. I was really, really happy that it was probably a ghost and not an animal. So that story ended with a happily ever after for sure. So that's the first story that kind of, it was one of the bigger ones, and that one made the book. But the second story was the first time that we actually got documentation of something happening. And it started with Bella when she was in high school. She was our athlete. We were, not strangers to the pasta party. And so we were entertaining the high school lacrosse team. And, of course, Skylar yelled out, hey, CF, tell the ghost stories. And after I was done, we were left with just a couple of us. And we were playing with the divining rods in the hallway. Skylar knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we had a girl there who had just lost her grandfather. And she was pretty upset about it. And by that time, I had been told by multiple psychics that my hallway, was a portal to spirits coming in and out. So we were using the divining rods trying to talk to her grandfather. It looked like we were pretty successful. But divining rods are very, very basic. They're very limiting. They crisscross. You get a yes, you get a no. You don't know who you're talking to, what you're saying. So I said to her, I'm going to try to take it just a little bit further for you. So I took the divining rods, and her grandpa, she called him Poppy. I said, hey, Poppy, you seem to be, pretty strong coming through. We're so happy to talk to you, and you really are missed here. Can you maybe try to show yourself in some kind of way? And lo and behold, as I'm saying this white thing goes across the hallway. And the first thing I think is, that damn Bella, she didn't clean right, and now there's a cotton ball in the hallway, and it's so embarrassing. But again, I did that mental flip, and I said, hello, crazy? What are you talking about? But at the same time, Skylar yelled out, hey, did you just see that? And she had been filming the whole time. So I said, did you get that on film? So we watched it back, and what I saw with my eyes, we actually got to see on video. Hallelujah, finally. Thank you, Mike, thank you. You know what I'm talking about. So, I was really, really happy for that, but I can tell you that the best thing about that night, it didn't matter whether it was real or not, whether she had cleaned or we saw a ball of light. The best thing about that night was that this little girl, tears streaming down her face, got to talk to her Poppy. Whether she did or she didn't, it settled her heart, and she went home happy, and I was so thrilled. So I can just tell you, I'm going to wrap up now, and I'm going to tell you that you can think what you want about paranormal. I don't know anything. I only know what I've experienced, what I've seen, what I've heard. I know that some of my experiences have reached out and touched people, and I am so grateful for that. So grateful for that. And I'm so grateful to all of you for coming and humoring me and listening to my hoarse voice. Thank you so much, everybody. Roseanne, I don't know how to turn yours off. So if anybody has any questions that they want to ask, this is the time. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. Great question. You're in the right place. Books are available for purchase. I have both books with me tonight. I have Soupy. That one is $12. I have Wanted Life with Me. That is $10. But make sure that when you get them, you put them in your swag bags because reusable. Yes, please.